going to present about Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 of OSHA report. So, for the introduction, first, the process of planning for completing a demolition project is far more true and complex than simple knockdown. Second, demolition contractors are master of recovering valuable material and minimizing for disposal. Demolition is a very high-risk job, complex, and unit require well knowledge and strict regulation. Due to this reason, reduction of all occupational disease injuries, corrective and preventive measures should be done. Next, for the project description, must be complied with Act and Regulation of OSHA 1994, Factories and Machinery Act 1967 and BOEX 1986. Follow all the instructions given based on the hierarchy identification so that the process can be seen and identified at the same time, can prevent or reduce any difficult situation happen. Contain 4 phases which are surveying, removal of hazardous material, preparation of plan and safety measures. For the problem segment, hazards are one of the major risks that can turn into any injuries or death to the person at the workplace based on their working condition. By implement the hierarchy form with the appropriate risk control to ensure the safety and health of workers are under control to prevent any undesired incident. For project objective is to identify safety and health hazard involved during the demolition works. Second, to propose any appropriate risk control based on the hazard involved at the workplace. And the last one is to make a suggestion for an appropriate control measures to eliminate and reduce the risk of hazard. For the project scope is to ensure working safe condition based on the hierarchy form. Next is to provide a preliminary risk assessment in demolition works. For Chapter 2, these are the flowchart for Chapter 2. First, we need to have a decision to demolish buildings or the structure. Next is to plan and site the survey. And next, to propose demolition method and engineering investigation. Next is to apply the demolition technique based on MS 2318/2012 Demolition of Building Code of Practice. And after that, we need to know if the techniques satisfy the criteria or not. If it's not satisfy the criteria, we have to obtain all the approval, and if it satisfy the criteria, we can implement the selection technique to the demolition work.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Aiman bin Muhammad Ardi, and I will be present about the methodology. So for the methodology, we use the method of the risk assessment. Risk assessment consists of identification of the particular risk, classification of the risk, along with risk analysis and appraisal. The use of risk assessment have the limited time. The limited time is divided into 3 phases, which is phase 1 is before operation, phase 2 is for during operation, and for the phase 3 is for after operation. For the phase 1 is about before operation. For example, before the project is begin, project manager and safety officer need to list the risk assessment. For the phase 2, during the operation, when the operation is ongoing, there will be many dangerous things, danger machine and other. So the risk assessment is important because during the operation maybe bad thing will be happen at the site such as an accident. For phase 3 is after operation, which is when the work at the site has been done. There are many tools and machines, so it is harm and danger for the workers and contractor. So it is important to apply risk assessment after the operation. After that, we have the estimate the safety and height risk. Risk rating of one of the most simplistic forms of risk assessment is to rate the remaining risk as high, medium or low, depending how likely the activity is to cause harm and how serious that harm might be. Risk can be calculated using the following formula: risk equal to severity times likelihood. So this table is about the severity and likelihood. Severity is harm to height, damage to property and environment, or the combination of the above. And likelihood will be determined based on static and data or professional judgment. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Hazam bin Muhammad Azali, with matric number of AF170021. Today I will be presenting about hierarchy. This is the table of likelihood. There are some categories of the table of likelihood and its rating. Next is the table of severity. This is the table of severity. Different severity will have the different rating. Next one is the risk metric table. This is the risk metric table. It is the connection between likelihood and the severity. To get the risk metric table, they must multiply the likelihood and severity. As the example for this one, the likelihood is 5 and the severity is 1. So 5 multiplied by 1, we get 5 here. So there are 3 risks that are high risk, medium risk and low risk. So for our project, we selected demolition method of crane and pusher arm. So this our group demolition high rack form of crane. The example of our high rack form. For the hazard identification, for number 1, the work activities is the bringing the crane and machineries into the site. The hazards are the soil surface condition is dry. Next, exposed to the crane smoke generated. This can cause an effect. First one is the causes respiratory problem to the workers. Next is the dust entering workers' eyes. The likelihood of this hazard is 3. The severity is 2 and the risk is 6. By multiplying 3 and 2, we got 6 risk. The risk control of this hazard, the recommended control measures are, first one is the wetting the crane rod before bringing in the crane into the site. Next one is provide appropriate PPE such as respiratory safety glass. Next one is demolition process using pusher arm. The hazards are exposed to high vibrations from the machine, whole body vibration. Next is exposed to noise for a very long time, which can cause having back pain, joint pain and blurred vision. Next, causes damage to lung and heart failure to function. The likelihood is 3 and the severity is 3. The risk is 9 by multiplying 3 and 3. The control measure are, first one is implement rotating work procedure. Next one is using safer equipment with less vibration and anti-vibration tools. Lastly is use appropriate ear protector. So these two are the example of our group highlight form for demolition work of crane. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and a good day everyone. My name is Muhammad Fahmi bin Muhammad Afandi. My metric number is EF170027 and I from section 3. Today, I would like to present for the discussion on highlight table. So, the most critical hazard by safety hazard. The first one is the most critical of hazard in safety is hit by moving object by the work of activity of crushing and hacking building structure. The hazard might lead to an impact of fatality, body injuries, while the working condition where harm to the workers is of an immediate and violent nature. Most of these work activities are exposed to health hazard, which can cause an effect of the hand or body injuries. So most critical hazard or health hazard can be categorized in several parts, which is physical hazard, chemical hazard, biological hazard, and economic hazard. The most health hazard that has been identified through the highlight is hot surface and spark by work activity of dismantling pipeline by manual cutting with oxy cutters. The last one, exposed to health hazards which can cause an effect of the hand or body injuries. So rationalize the most critical hazard. So we can be determined to the hazard activity involved in a certain condition, such as dismantle roof and structure using skylift and mobile crane, dismantling pipeline by manual cutting with oxy cutters, and many more. So for the control measure in accordance to the hierarchy of risk control for safety hazard, the first one, administrative control and PPE that contain training, briefing, safe work practice, appoint signalman, wearing safety helmet and many more. Next, employers must appoint a competent operator to operate the crane and do the inspection before start of work. The last one, put a signage that mentions lifting work in progress and other people can beware. So control measure in accordance to the hierarchy of risk control for health hazard. Control measure for health hazard of hot surface can be by using appointing a worker with his expertise to do the job, to do inspection before work, ensure valid fire extinguisher to be present at working place all time, fire washer to be assigned at workplace, wear a suitable PPE for hot work to avoid migraine or any fatigue.